Welcome to the Washdown podcast, episode number 35. I'm your host, Jeremy Green. With me, my co-host, Chris Nelson. And today we are talking with firefighter medic Steve Sanneman. And we are going to be talking about the Center of Excellence, a recovery center for firefighters, and also some personal issues that he had and how he has overcome them and continues to work through them. So sit back and enjoy episode number 35 of the Washdown podcast.
When we first met?
No, I was barely 20.
Okay, so I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I might have been 21.
I was in my 40s when I got divorced. And anytime I'd go to a bar for anything, I felt like the dirty old man. You know, because I'd be like, I'd look around and I'm like, hey, nobody here my age.
Yep, I feel that way now.
Yeah. I don't go to bars anymore.
I go to a bar with my wife now.
Yeah, I really don't. I haven't even done that since I stopped drinking. So
There's no point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go and
annoying.
I don't drink like I did in my 20s at all.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I did when I was in Illinois, but I was in Illinois and it made it tolerable.
You have to.
Yeah.
It didn't.
It's a requirement, I think. If you're in the state for more than 4 hours.
I was like, this state sucks. The land of laws and taxes.
Yep.
Yeah. And not even good laws, just
No.
dumb laws.
Dumb.
And like I always stopped to get gas in Hannibal on my way in because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And then I try and push it as far as I can. Sometimes I can make it back. Sometimes I can't. It depends on how much driving around I did.
I'm going to just roll those dice.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like 60 cents more a gallon.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Now that you say that, every time I've taken that motorcycle trip to Indiana, I usually do get fuel in Wentzville, and I try to push it all the way to Mount Vernon.
Yeah. Maybe coast in.
Yeah, it's been iffy a couple
I'm kicking
times.
my feet.
Yeah.
Where are the pedals? Where are the pedals?
Yeah. Well, the one time that it was really iffy was whenever we had all that construction. And
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, if you got to stop, you got to stop.
yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say I push it, but most of the time I just bite the bullet. And we always take my wife's car. So, like, at half a tank, it's 8 gallons.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad.
Right.
But still, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it probably gets pretty decent gas mileage, too.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't have to stop when we do. It's a good halfway stopping point, and it's usually in my ear by then. I got to pee. I'm like, tie a knot in it. Because I don't.
Here's a cork.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Steve, thanks for dropping by today.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me here.
Well, we are glad that you're here. So why don't you give us the 411?
Yeah, my name's Steve. I've been a firefighter and paramedic for close to 30 years now. Started working in and around the field when I was 15. So got my first taste of it, like I said, at 15. Loved it ever since. I honestly can't see myself, even all through my career, see myself doing anything else. Got a short time of burnout back in the late 90s, just before I moved here. And dealt with that and realized that no matter what I did, I was always going to come back this way. So that's why I got hired on by a local department here. Then got on the department that I'm at now.
So now, when you had your burnout in the 90s,
Yeah.
was that an ambulance service or was that a fire department?
It was an ambulance service.
So only ambulance.
And it wasn't so much the job I was doing as the people I was working for. I was a supervisor at that service, and the things that they would tell me I had to do to put ambulances on the streets and all that.
Private service?
It was a private service, yeah, for profit.
Yeah.
So it made decisions, that I made very difficult because they wanted, these ambulances on the streets, and we didn't have ambulances that I felt were safe to be on the streets, and they didn't care.
Held together with duct tape.
Yeah.
On a good day?
On a good day. On a good day.
That piston's barely in there. It's like a paper clip.
Yeah. There was one ambulance that I worked out of for a long time that when you put the M tank in, if you look down, you could see the ground.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
so natural air conditioning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, and you get nice little exhaust fumes in there too.
well,
So.
if you drill,
Patience,
Yeah.
so I did find if you drill a small hole in the bottom of that O2 tank, the air from outside will get up in there, and it's unlimited O2.
Oh, hey, that's a
You
good
didn't know?
idea.
Medic.
Yeah.
New school, old school. Right.
I just changed the bottle. So
Yeah.
what was I thinking?
Just for all our listeners out there, in case you didn't catch it, that's a joke.
That's all sarcasm.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, but you get to the hospital faster because you'll be flying over traffic.
No, it's like it's a turbo, right?
Right,
It's
exactly.
like, yeah, just hit the nitro button.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, O2 is not flammable or anything.
Nah.
Never seen it. I've seen lots of people smoke while they're on O2.
I have too.
I have too. Not a great idea.
No, not the smartest thing in the world.
Because if you're on O2, because of smoking, why are you still smoking? I don't know.
I don't get it. But you know what? It's not me. So
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's a corporate burnout. A little different than
Yeah,
I mean, still burnout, but still
burnout. It was still. I was at the point where, oh gosh, this is going back a ways. Steve Maxwell was still the director of VMS for Missouri, and I almost ripped up my paramedic license, mailed it back to him with a note saying, "Don't ever send me another one." That's the point where I was at.
I think every medic's like that.
Yeah.
So how did you handle that? I mean, like, what got you through it and got back into?
I quit there and met my first wife and moved. That was back in St. Louis, and then met my first wife and moved here. And it was one of those things where we were talking one day, and she goes, "You really, this is you. You know, this is what you want to do. You're a paramedic. You're a firefighter. This is what you want to do." And so that's when I started pursuing, finishing up my Fire 1 and 2, which is a whole other story in itself.
It was fun.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the... With you and I, it was awesome.
I had a great time.
I had a great time,
I learned
too.
a lot.
I had a great time, too. Even, messing around with some of the instructors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they were easy.
One in particular. I'm not going to name names. But yeah, it was nice to finish up my Fire 1 and 2 and realize that that this was where I wanted to be. And ever since then, I kind of handled the stress and the burnout, and I said I never want to supervisory position again. Never work for a private ambulance service again. And so far that has all come true. So.
Well, you know what you want and you know what you like.
Right.
So, I mean, can't fault you for that.
Right.
Oh, my stomach's growling.
Was that yours?
Yeah, that was my
Wow.
stomach. Yeah. That's,
It was that awesome chicken sandwich you had earlier.
yeah. Hey, man, it's, sometimes you just gotta.
It was close.
Yeah.
Well, we
Time constraints.
Yeah.
It's close. It's edible.
Yeah.
Ish.
my
Ish.
stepson and I stopped at Inatub on the way home from.
Yes.
Oh,
So
dude. No.
That's like a once a year thing for me,
yeah, I'm right there.
and I pay for it every time.
Oh yeah.
And I still eat like 10 tacos. Now I'm down to like 5, and I'm like, hey, extra powdered cheese.
Yeah. Sorry. Can't do it, man.
I know you like rice cakes.
I can't
Nobody
do
cares.
it. There's nothing wrong with rice
Rice
cakes.
cakes. I use those as coasters.
Yeah. Not only does he take the rice cake, but then he takes a piece of dried broccoli and puts it on, and then powdered peanut butter and puts it on there. It's the weirdest crap you've ever seen.
He's exaggerating and
I don't exaggerate.
lying.
I don't lie either.
I can see him exaggerating. I can't see him lying.
Yeah. But that was just a bald-faced lie.
Sad thing is, it's probably not. I don't know if he does, but I'm not there.
No. Honestly, since I've been at the new station, I've had more keto but that's because all the guys on the pumper do the keto diet. So just kind of by default. So most of it's just chicken, vegetables, rice.
We had tenderloins the other day at our station, and they were delicious.
Yeah.
Then I found out the breading was vegan.
Oh.
I was like, really? That's the first thing I've had that's vegan, like 100% vegan.
Right.
That was good.
Wouldn't breading always be vegan, though? Because it's
breading? No, I think
it was like gluten-free and vegan.
If it's got eggs in the mix.
Yeah. It's an animal product.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. It said vegan on it, and I've never seen the flour. I've never seen flour say vegan.
I had a vegan steak the other day because I put a sticker on it that said vegan. Does that qualify? You believe everything you read on the internet?
Now he's being dramatic. Shut up, almond milk.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with some almond milk. It tastes good with Honey Nut Cheerios.
No.
Yes. Vanilla almond milk, Honey Nut Cheerios.
Almonds don't make milk.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Haven't you ever seen an almond ranch? The cowboys herd them up.
Where's the nipple on it, Greg?
Thank you.
Well, see, you got to shell them first. It's like sheep. You got to shear them. And then it exposes everything.
This is what I deal with.
Chris, I'm sorry. You got my number. If you need to talk, give me a shout.
What's the... I can't think of his name all of a sudden. The comedian.
Bill Burr?
No. Older guy. Always yelling. Louis Black.
Louis Black. Yeah.
Where's the tit? Moo cow fuck milk. That's right. I said it. You know which stand-up I'm talking about?
I unfortunately do not, and I love Louis Black.
You got,
He's awesome.
I want to say that's Black on Broadway, I think.
I can't remember.
See, it's hard to remember like specific lines from him because he is such a yeller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and he's so animated all the time.
I mean, it was a whole sketch on milk and get your almond fake milk and whatever else they make milk out of now.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not milk. I want milk.
Right. I want my milk to come from a cow.
Yeah. And if I'm desperate, goat.
Oh, no.
It's not as bad as we think. It's
I've never
different.
had it.
It's different.
I've had goat cheese, but I've never had goat milk.
It's not. I don't know how to explain it. It's just different. You're like, give me the cow milk.
Yeah.
It helps with burnout, though.
Do what?
It helps with burnout.
Really? Goat's milk? That's the cure to burnout.
That's how we circle back.
Yeah.
I like that.
You didn't know?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Little.
Oh, he did an awesome circle back a couple episodes ago. We had we're starting the podcast and we're doing our thing, having the conversation, and then some things were said that needed to be cut out. So we just started over, and we were good like 7-8 minutes in.
Right.
A lot of great stuff. And he's like, I'm going to do it again. And I was like, you can't do it again. You can't.
Was that the Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you can't make lightning strike twice. And he brought it all the way back around and just slam dunk.
Hey, you could be the press secretary if you keep circling back.
So I circle back.
Yeah. That's
At least
the new PIO right there.
At least I can make him giggle.
Right?
That's the new PIO right there.
There you go.
That'd be an awesome job.
I'll vote for you.
Walk up and be like, it's on fire.
See what had happened
we're
was.
putting it out.
There's water going to it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
See what had happened was. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I liked him, though.
Yeah.
He was funny.
So, yeah. Circling back around.
Circling back.
So
you moved here.
I moved here.
You were married.
2002-ish. somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
2002.
I'm trying to think, because I turned 20 in 02.
Right.
I think it was about end of 02,
Yeah.
beginning of 03.
And
We were in the Fire 1 and 2 class at that other department.
Right. And
Before we got hired at our departments.
Right. I got, I was working at one of the casinos at that time, too.
Yeah.
So,
I want to say you were, well, it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Because I think I was going to apply out there after EMT school. I didn't.
I just remember falling asleep in the investigator class. Or the arson. And I fell asleep because I was working nights, coming in class during the day, and I fell asleep, and I went, did the head nod, and I went, oh!
Told on yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I think, because weren't our classes started at 6 to 9 at night, and then you went to work? 'Cause I remember we were in the evening because I was working during the day.
This was a Saturday that we were there.
Okay.
I remember. And
Yeah.
Then, and then I had worked nights, and it was.
I forgot we did Saturdays.
Yeah, we did Saturdays every other Saturday or something
Yeah.
like that.
I'll make sure you're speaking right into
Sorry.
that mic. No, you're good, man.
It's a learned skill.
Well,
It's like doing an IV. Not everybody can do it.
right.
I could do an IV.
You know what happens when he sees blood?
No.
That got brought
Does
up
he?
yesterday.
So we were-
Elliot brought that crap up.
Hell yeah!
Yeah,
Boy.
told on me.
So
I will tell the
hang
story.
on. I had to go through the academy again
Right.
when I got hired.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's where I met him.
So first clinicals down at the hospital.
Right.
So look, I grew up hunting, fishing. I've seen blood. I've hurt myself. I've seen other people hurt. It was never a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Go to my first clinical down at the hospital, and they're like, hey, you want to see a gunshot wound? And I'm like, boy, do I. That sounds like just fun on a stick.
Right.
So I go into the room, the doctor's in there, and it's like a 22. Dude, like, shot himself in the foot. Yeah.
No, there's another story with the 22. And
Yeah. So
let's see if he remembers it.
So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the doctor clean it up, and he's like explaining stuff to me. And I'm leaning back up against this cabinet, just kind of watching him. And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't feel right.
All right.
And getting a little bit woozy. And the next thing I know is I'm on the ground. This doctor is freaking out. I need help in here. Well, whenever I passed out, because I passed out,
Right.
I fell apparently face first into the concrete floor, and I
Oh.
split my eye open.
Oh.
Well, I'd landed in front of the door. So I'm kind of blocking the door. Well, the doctor is not going to move me. So he's screaming for help, but nobody can get in the room because I'm in the way. So I kind of took a beating from them pushing the door open to get in to help me. So they get me up, stitch my eye up,
Right.
get some orange juice, some food. I finish my clinical, go into the academy.
It was on a Saturday.
Yeah, it was on a Saturday. So, Sunday and then Monday morning in the academy.
Everybody
I took
knew.
a beating.
Everybody already knew.
Yeah. And there was no hiding it because the proof was right there. I was like, yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
But, it hasn't happened since. I've had plenty of calls where I've had my hands inside of people pitching
Right.
off vessel. And,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me. So,
But we always wondered why he was the last guy hired in the class.
yeah.
He was the last one.
I was the guy that they called on Thursday and said, go take your drug test today.
Right.
Academy starts on Monday.
Do you remember the one guy in our class that he was annoying as all get up? And he'd sit there, I was driving with my friends and doing this. You remember that guy? He got shot by his best friend?
Yeah, he's in my Mason Lodge.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know that when I joined it.
All right.
This has been a long time. It's been like 20 years
it's been
ago.
almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
yeah.
he's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, never mind.
Moving
Moving
along.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
I just remember that story of, his friend shot him.
Okay, so anyway, how about we talk about the reason that you're here to talk?
All right. So, after getting divorced from my first wife, some things came to light in my world that there might be some other issues going on. But being the person that I am, I can handle it myself. Right?
Oh, I've heard that story before.
Have you heard this before?
Where have I heard that?
Right.
Oh, wait, I said that.
Yeah.
You said
You're
that.
right.
Yeah.
Anybody that sat in this chair said that?
Pretty much,
Pretty
yeah.
much. I can handle this.
Yeah.
This is no problem. So, get through with my divorce, living, the single life again, doing, whatever it is I want, meet my current wife, still kind of keeping that lifestyle, but not as much, trying to hide things from her. She caught me in a couple of lies. Finally came to a head in September of last year. And she said, you either get help or you get out. Those are your options. And I'm like, this is the woman that has so far stood by me for a year and a half. And I have not given her the true me, the best me that I could give her. So, made some phone calls, talked to some counselors that I knew. We all kind of agreed that going to Center of Excellence was going to be the right course for me. So it started that process. And again, because I'm me and I'm sitting in this chair, I thought I can kind of drag my feet a little bit and drag. So I did a little bit. She kept getting on me. So finally made the phone calls. October 6th, I flew out there, and that's COE's in Maryland. Spent 6 weeks out there, learning about different trauma, or talking about different traumas that I've gone through, not just professionally but also personally. They did this assessment. Can't remember the name of it, but when I started filling it out, the counselor that was in there with us, she goes, "Is this one of your traumas that you're going to talk about?" I'm like, "No, didn't even think it was needed to be talked about." And she goes, "No, you need to make this one of your traumas, because we go and we talk about our traumas that we've had."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." So I did. So they scored that like 0 to 9. I think it was the scoring on that, and I scored a 4. So when I, met my trauma counselor, I said, "So what denotes, that this is a significant trauma?" He says a score of 1 or higher. So I had a 4. So not as high as it could be, but
Still.
He said, "Yeah, with a score of 4, you should have, it's been proven that you'll have a higher risk of drug and alcohol abuse, addiction, and things of that nature." Thinking about it, when he told me that, in my early 20s, when I was living on my own, I started to go down that road. Then realized I woke up one day at home in my bed, not realizing how I got home. So I was like, you know what? This needs to stop. So I don't drink like that anymore. I haven't really since, I had the occasional, but I try to, make sure somebody else is driving or what have you. Or I'm doing it at home.
Yeah.
But with an addictive personality like I have, one addiction is replaced by another. And with that's when the porn came in. And it left a wide open door. And it has haunted me. And it's a struggle every day to keep that demon locked up, keep it at bay, to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to keep it where it needs to be. That was one of the things at COE that we talked about. There's no ICD-9 code for sex addiction. It's now considered impulse control problems. So when I got back and was talking to a psychiatrist here, it was, so tell me about these impulse control issues. And I'm like, so I did, laid it out online. And, it's something, he told me, it's the way it is. You just got to want to know my plan for it. And I told him, laid out my plan. And as long as I'm working my plan, things are great. So, like I said, getting back to the COE, talked about my childhood traumas, talked about several traumas at work. Work through those. They do what's called Socratic thinking, the Socratic method. Mm-hmm. And basically when you relive those memories, you're in what's called trauma brain. So you kick off the flight or flight syndrome, sympathetic nervous system. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm a medic too.
You're getting there. I was gonna say
it takes me a minute. I'm old.
Yeah. Takes me 30 seconds for an IV. Takes you 5 minutes. I get it.
No. It takes me 5 minutes to find the words.
It's a needle thingy.
It's a pokey thing. It's that minor CVA that I have, kind of flares up. But no, I mean, we talked about these traumas, and so when you think about them, you actually kick back into that fight or flight syndrome. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that mode, your brain can't function. It does not function correctly, like it should. Mm-hmm. So what we did, what the Socratic questioning does is, it helps you to look at it from a logical point of view, not from that fight or flight. Right. So once I did that, my first trauma, every other one from that point on that I talked about in those classes was as easy as could be, because all my other traumas, all the other feelings and things that I had about those other traumas all stemmed from my first one, which, not getting into any great detail, but was related to my mom and my sister and the way that I was raised. My mom kind of pawned me off on my sister. It wasn't her child, so there was a lot of resentment towards me from her. My sister and I have really come a long way. We're as close as we can be. So, with being 250 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there were there was a lot of other classes that, focused on, anxiety. I had my first recognized anxiety attack while I was there. And I'm like having this attack in the middle of the campus there. And I'm like, oh, so this is what an anxiety attack is. All right, now I have a name for it. Yeah. I've had them before. I didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
So, went through, there was classes when I first got there for the first 3 weeks, I think it was. I was in class every day. The next couple of weeks, I was in class 6 days a week. And then when I was getting ready to kind of
transition out,
yeah, it was just it was 5 days a week, and it was only 3 hours a day, whereas the others were like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So they broke it down for us, and they said that if you're there 6 weeks, you basically get 5.5 years of therapy in that 6 weeks, because you're going to so many different classes.
Yeah.
And they did the the arts and crafts ones too, which we kind of laugh at but I
think they work.
They do,
dude.
They do. I was surprised at how well they work.
I mean,
the coloring books and the cutting the stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, then finally getting into it, and I'm like, an hour's passed, and they're like, okay, I need to collect everything.
You're like,
I'm not done finger painting.
Yeah.
I'm not done.
Yeah, for me it was wood burning and music.
Yeah.
So, because I've always been into music and playing instruments and
Right.
doing all that stuff, and and I set it down for a long time,
Right.
because other things were
Right.
more important.
Right. Yeah.
So-
That's. I'm working on a presentation for my department on PTSD, and that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about is are you putting stuff down that you like your music, you put that down because it wasn't doing anything for you, whereas whatever you were filling that void with was.
Yeah.
So it was very fascinating to me to learn not only about myself and to figure out, my, where I screwed up in life and, how much of it, I had control over. And it was very eye-opening. And I came back, I was a totally different person. My wife said that. She said, when you walked off the plane, she says, you were totally different. She said you had your head held high. You didn't look like you had the weight of the world on your shoulders. And that's how I felt.
Yeah.
That was. We only live a few minutes from the airport, and that was the longest ride I've ever been in. Was going to the airport to have her drop me off.
Right.
And then come to find out, she didn't tell me this before I left, but she told me, as we were progressing in our relationship and getting things stronger with us, that she really didn't care if I came back or not. I was that close to losing her.
Yeah.
And it's something I didn't want to have happen, because my dad would have kicked my ass.
I am not taking an ass whooping for this.
Not from an 85-year-old man.
Yeah.
And my dad could still do it.
Hey, your dad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he was also a St. Louis City cop for 30 years.
Yeah, I don't want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't fight. He doesn't fight fair.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So
it's. Oh, go ahead.
So I was going to, not to compare programs,
Right.
but because Jeremy went through Valor.
Uh-huh.
So one thing we've talked about, he's talked about it here, is that they didn't prepare him for what was going to happen when he got home, where reality comes back and life, everything that revolves around life,
Right.
bills,
Right.
family, because you've gotten better, but they didn't, so it's still there. Did they prepare you for that at all, or is
not
it not
as
really
much
touched?
as I think they should have? And one of the things with COE, I don't know how involved your family was with your recovery.
My wife was fairly involved. She came down and saw me a couple times, and she was in contact with, because she has a professional relationship with them too.
Oh,
so
okay. All right. So that's
a
little different.
Yeah, it's a little different for
Right.
me. So
one of the downsides to it was I think they prepared you for life outside the bubble as well as they could,
Yeah.
because you're different than you and me, and
yeah,
so everybody's once they get out, it's going to be a little different.
yeah,
But I think they prepared you. I don't want to say adequately, and I don't want to say subpar either.
right.
I think they prepared you as well as they could.
Right. Well, and I think the big thing I think that we need to remember, and people need to remember, is there's only so much those programs can do.
Right.
And like what Chris alluded to was, you've been in this bubble, like you said, of treatment for 30 days, 6 weeks, however long it's been, while your family, while you're being a jackass and doing what you were doing, you're hurting them.
Right.
Well, they haven't been through a program to resolve those issues, and you've been gone, so you haven't been talking and communicating and resolving those issues. So whenever you come back, It's like, hey, what's up?
Yep.
When it's not, I don't think I think it goes deeper than that, because not only are you gone and they're not able to deal with it with you, but they're picking up all that slack.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
So everything's now falling on that person to be done.
So when I was gone, my wife wasn't working. She was in school. She had to pick up a part-time job. So she was basically working 6 days a week.
Yeah.
She'd be in school 5 days and then take her part-time job on the weekends. And
So how much more added stress is
Right.
that? And now she's presenting even more.
right, because now she's got to take this other job. Now she's got to do all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was, like you said, a jackass and did what I did.
Did you guys have kids at the time?
We don't have kids together.
Okay.
She's got a son.
Okay.
So
And you don't have any?
I
of your own?
have a daughter.
Okay. But now, so I assume the son lived with you
Yeah.
guys. What about
Yeah.
your daughter?
No. So part of my healing process was to make contact with her, because once my ex-wife and I divorced.
Make sure you're talking into that mic.
Yeah. Once my ex-wife and I divorced, I kind of. I'm going to take 100% of the blame, because I did not pursue a relationship with my daughter because of things that I was told by my ex-wife. I should have, from the get-go, continued a relationship with her, and that's 100% on me.
Yeah.
So I can't. But one of the things that in the family session that my wife and I were, we'd zoomed in on, which was really kind of nice, was she brought up my daughter to our counselor, and our couples counselor and our family's counselor and my personal counselor both ganged up on me and said, you need to write a letter to your daughter, and we want to see it when you're done. It's like, fuck, a homework assignment now.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
What a good one.
But it was a very good one, because when I did mail it to my daughter about 2 weeks after I got back, I was sitting in the station and my phone went off, and it was a text from my daughter. And I honestly did not know that your heart could leap and your stomach could sink all at the same time. It was one of the best, most nervous I have ever felt in my life. We text every so often, not as much as I'd like to, which is, again, on me. But I'm leaving the ball in her court for her to, whenever she wants to feel comfortable, whenever she feels comfortable to meet me and sit down and talk with me, and then we'll do it. So I can tell her my side of the story.
Yeah.
so you mentioned homework assignments. So did you have, through that program, was there a lot of, because the program I went through, Valor, it was writing assignments
Yes.
and graphs and charts
Yes.
and like a whole bunch of stuff.
So I wasn't technically a dual major like a lot of people were with mental health and substance abuse.
Mhm.
I was strictly more mental health.
Yeah.
So I didn't have nearly as many assignments as the other guys did,
Yeah.
but I still had my own. I started journaling, which is something that really keeps me on track. And a couple weeks ago, I kind of stumbled, had a dumbass moment, rectified it really quick, but did not expose it, if you
Mhm.
will, to my wife.
Yeah.
She found out about it, and so then it was, you need to go back and start working your plan, yeah, I call it the after action plan, because that's kind of the terms that we use.
Yeah.
Best thing, you're gonna stumble,
Right,
but you just gotta be able to just be honest about it.
right, and that was my fault again, my fault.
Well, you're a man.
Right.
I get told that every day.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so we're working through that now. Getting back to that point. It did something stupid the other day, not as bad, but kind of didn't see things through her eyes like I should, and
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think that's one of those things where perspective, you kind of have to look at everything, especially whenever you've, gone down the paths that we've gone down. You really have to take the time to look at it from the other side,
right.
So now, this is just being devil's advocate, and I'm not trying to take away your fault or anything that you've claimed. But have you talked to her about seeing it from your side, and like when you mess up and why you do some of the things you do?
She had a brother-in-law who had some psychological issues. I don't want to misquote her.
You wouldn't have to go into that.
But it's and you've run these patients, these psych patients that they're doing real well on their medications. They're doing great. They don't need their medications anymore.
Yep.
So they stop doing their medications, and then they need help again, and then they need to back on their that's how I am, or how
Yeah.
I was doing great on my work on my program, doing great. I don't need to work my program today. I can.
Yep. That's when you stumble.
And that's when I stumbled, and that's what happened. And she picked up on it. She is very intuitive.
And I'm assuming she's been supportive.
Oh, it's very.
So she's like, hey, give you a little smack in the back of the head. Hey,
Yep.
You messed up.
Yep.
What are we going to do?
Yep. Yep.
Good.
She's she's.
I just want to just clear that.
Oh yeah. No, it's not like I'm sleeping on the backyard or anything like that. So
That's just called camping.
well, yes.
Is that really punishment? You mean I don't have to hear you snore tonight in the backyard? Okay.
Not everybody's wife snores, Chris.
I just need to make sure I got a long enough extension cord for my CPAP machine. So
All right, got battery backups, don't they?
no, not mine.
Man, spend the money. Come on. It's a lot. Those things are lifesavers.
Yeah, I know.
Power goes out, man. We live in the cities.
Right.
Our grids are.
I'm the first
awesome.
I'm the first one that knows when the power goes out in our house at night.
Fire up the
Actually-
generator.
Yep.
I actually ran a call. A guy, he'd gone to bed. He worked nights, and his wife worked on the day. And he had the CPAP on. Well, we got a call for unconscious. Well, he was gone. But he was extremely pink, but extremely bloated because he still had the CPAP on. But he had rigor and all that, so I mean, you couldn't. But trying to explain that to, because it's still pumping oxygen in there.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'd seen that.
Ran
I don't
one
think I've
one
ever seen
time.
that.
Ran one time with a woman with a CPAP machine on that was unplugged. Couldn't figure out why she couldn't breathe.
Okay.
The lack of air flowing in her didn't.
Hey,
Clear
her
away.
husband didn't seem concerned.
Were they
All
older?
right.
No,
Were they my age?
they were a little older than you.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't concerned.
Yeah.
My wife knows I say all this stuff, but
Yeah.
she knows I love her.
I was like, this ain't right.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No, it's not.
I say all the mean stuff here. That way I can be nice to her and enjoy our
Right.
time together. I get it all out.
Oh, it's on you. It's your turn to talk.
I just did. Go on with you. So we hit the stumble, and then
So it
you
stumbled.
fixed it.
Fixed it right, and it's.
And you journal every day.
I am trying to. Journaling for me is very difficult. I hate writing. I have hated writing assignments my whole life. So, for me to journal every other day is a huge thing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, working on getting journaling done every day.
Now, do you handwrite or do you type it?
Handwrite.
Yeah, handwriting, dude. There's science behind that of the tactile thing with actually writing. You do not get the same thing journaling, typing on a computer.
Right. It is very, very cathartic.
See, and I've noticed that I write better when I type, and I get more out of it. I'm not arguing with the science behind it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
The exception to the
You're
rule.
special. I'm sorry.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, again, it goes back to what we've said 100 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Different
Well,
things work for different people.
Right.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
you're absolutely right.
And you can't read my writing anyway when because it's chicken scratch.
Right.
Looks like Sanskrit, but it feels like I get more. I don't journal, but
Right.
Yeah.
when I do writing for school and stuff,
Yeah.
I get
More
more
out of it from typing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supposedly you have a more of a connection with the words because you have to take the time when you're writing and you have that, like I said, that tactile feel and the muscle memory of, and this isn't the same as the writing process. So,
I mean, I get it. It makes sense.
yeah. Because, we did the same thing in Valor. We had a journal, and you had to handwrite it. We had somebody in our thing that tried to type everything, and that quickly got nipped in the bud. Like, no, you're not doing that. So, but yeah.
No, I get it. But again, different things work for different people.
That's true. Some people like the art therapy, some don't.
Right.
Some people the journaling was awesome for. Some people, just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Like it's a super big chore.
There were several people that went through with me that they said that the journaling, there was one retired chief from California that was with me, and he journaled 4 or 5 notebook pages a day.
Oh yeah, I had a guy like
Yeah.
that. Bart was like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just more power to him. As like I was lucky
Yeah.
to get half a sheet.
Yeah. Well,
But,
my
yeah.
buddy that we had on the show, he would sit down and journal. I think he had like 6 or 7 notebooks.
Yeah.
He'd been there a while though.
Yeah.
So,
And he had a lot
he
of
had
years.
A lot of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years in SF to talk about.
Wow.
Plus, other stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the common theme that keeps coming up is, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit, like the childhood trauma. And, and I don't know if that's just like typical of men in particular, where we just don't deal with our crap. And then we just kind of stack it on top of each other until we get to the point where it's, we're doing dumb shit.
It
So-
goes back to like what we were talking about last episode. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, suck it up, man
Yep.
up,
Yeah.
Yep.
put some dirt on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You played sports as a kid, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You fall down, get your ass whooped, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Get up.
Get up.
Go again.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you injured or are you hurt?
Right.
Yeah.
That was a question that I heard.
Oh, I heard a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're injured, we'll get you some help.
Right.
If you're just hurt, get your ass out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget that play.
Yeah.
You got 17 more to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't deal with it. Ignore
Now,
it.
but I will say that with this caveat, there is a benefit to that as well, of building resilience and being able to push through, if you understand that part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
That part of it is not explained. Neither is, and we talked about this the last episode and we've talked about it before, compartmentalization, which is a big thing on the fire department. I assume police department, military as well, where, you go on a call, you got some horrible shit going on. You have to go in there, do your job. You can't focus on the horrible shit.
Right.
So you take it and you put it in your little box or whatever, and then, okay, then what? Nobody ever says, then what?
Right.
You just take that shit and you put it in your
little
box.
and you
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not how compartmentalization is supposed to work.
Right.
You put it in your little box, you do your job, then whenever you're in a safe space, you pull it out, you process it, and then it
Move
flushes
on.
away.
Right.
And you're good to go. However, if you don't do that, like I said, you're just putting more shit in there, and everybody, and I've used this analogy before a million times probably, everybody thinks it's like this big, huge iron-bound box with triple padlocks and all this. No,
Yeah.
it's a leaky cardboard box that's
Yep.
been sitting in water for a decade.
Yep.
It's not going to hold shit for long.
And everybody's leaky cardboard box is different. It's a different size.
Oh, absolutely.
There are some that are this big, and then others,
Yeah.
that are huge and takes forever.
Yeah.
So I've actually started doing that on bad calls, taking the time to talk to everybody who was on the call. did it with that. We had a mid-30s cardiac arrest, pregnant. Got a pulse back, but that was a hard one.
Yeah.
And then found out, because I was working overtime, and then the next shift I worked, talked to some of the nurses that worked at the hospital and didn't make it. Neither of them. They tried. C-section, emergency,
Right.
couple breaths for the baby, and
Nothing.
and the dad and the husband. I mean, that was
Oh,
brutal to hear as you're working and trying to give them tasks to do. But going back, I mean, this was in the middle of the night too.
Right.
And going back to the station and everybody's sitting around the table and like, all right, we're going to talk about it. And he kind of goes, like, no, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're going to deal with this now. Because
Right.
there were some young guys, had young kids, pregnant wives. I mean,
Yeah.
younger but than what our patient was. But at the same time, like, no, we're going to. Even one of the older guys was like, his words were, that kind of fucked me up. I'm like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Me too. Because it's not something you expect to run.
We've had a string of pretty gnarly calls last couple of weeks. Fortunately, I have not been on them, but other members of the department have been that are on my shift, and it's really kind of fucked a few of them up.
Yeah.
And they called in the CISD team to talk to them, and I'm hoping it helped. I talked to one of them my last shift, and he seems to be doing okay. So,
Do you guys have the peer counselors?
yes, we do, and I am one of them.
Are you? So I forgot. You're part of our local too, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you were or not. Oh, sorry.
So your CISD protocols, is that in a group or is it one-on-one?
They did it in a group. It was everybody that was on the one particular call that they kind of cherry picked out of the however many that they had, because I think it was because it was the most recent one, and they went through one of the local hospital in our area.
Okay.
So they reached out to them, and their team came down. It was nobody from us.
Right.
But myself and my captain are two of the three peer counselors that we have on our department. And the
Okay.
other one just got promoted to a chief level, so I don't know if they are still doing it or not because of that.
And it kind of changes when you
Kinda
hit
change-
that,
yeah,
that
right.
management. Even with a captain, sometimes it.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit about, the whole peer support thing. People will feel more comfortable potentially talking to someone that's at their rank level or whatever once you start. And it's not anything bad about officers or anything like that, but there's just that separation.
Right.
And guys start to, you got it in the back of your mind, okay, can I really talk to this person? And it's not that, not that you don't trust them or whatever, but there also becomes like, okay, what's my liability here? And
Right.
as,
Right.
if it's the officer, is like, okay, what's my liability of listening to this person talk? How far can I take it as a peer counselor before I
Right.
have to be chief or captain or
Right.
whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of gray areas.
And
Yeah.
then not only that, if it's your captain and it's your captain that is your peer counselor,
Yeah.
then that puts, okay, so we run another call like this. Now I have to not only, make sure my scene's safe, make sure my guys are safe, make sure, everything's working smoothly. Now I got to watch out for me because, I broke down on the last call. Am I going to do that again?
Yeah.
Am I going to,
And then it's
Right.
what's my captain thinking
right,
about me right now?
right,
Did he lose some? Did I lose some of his trust?
right.
Yeah.
Now,
Or
I know my captain, I know very well, and I know they don't think that way. I know because of just the conversations that we've had. She wants to see me in a good mental health. I'm 17 years on the department, almost 18 now, and I'm getting to the point where it's like, I could retire almost any time, very close to it, and she doesn't want to see me,
Yeah.
screw up the last 4 or 5 years of my career.
Yeah.
So
That's a fine line. But, I mean,
Yeah.
the sitting down and talking about it, whether it's a peer counselor or
Yeah.
have an expert come in or just as a crew, you could tell
Right.
it worked. You could see it in the eyes and the reactions in the face.
Yeah.
And
Well, dude, that hot wash, and that's what we'll call it. That's basically what it is. People underestimate the value of that.
Oh, yeah.
We've been doing it informally in fire stations for years. If you have a fire or a bad call or, car wreck or whatever, late at night typically is like the most typical time.
Mhm.
You get back to the station. We were talking about it earlier. Put on a pot of coffee, sit around the kitchen table, and then everybody just kind of, one person may say something, make a joke, then you start talking about it. You're able to take that post-traumatic stress, diffuse it, leave it away,
Right.
and then it doesn't become post-traumatic stress disorder,
Right.
which is, that's the bad thing.
I don't know about you guys in your department, but the things that, the changes that we've had in I think the fire service in general, and especially in our department with going to individual rooms, getting rid of the table in the bay. You guys still have a table in the bay?
some
Some
stations,
some don't.
yeah.
I know for our department, I've said this to several of the chiefs. I said, when they got rid of the table in the bay, that's when a lot of this problem started. And then the separate quarters, that was inevitable. That was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when people go hide in their bunk all day,
Right.
that's a problem. Like, so I've been lucky, real fortunate in the stations I've worked at. Even when I was in the city, everybody. I mean, you'd go do your study time,
Right.
but for the most part, everybody was up front. I mean, we had an area in the bay with chairs
Right.
and one of the big cable wire spools. That was our table. We kind of makeshifted it.
Yeah. Just like that spool that I tripped over in that fire.
Yes.
Where he was the truck and I was the pumper.
Yeah. You
And then we
okay?
switched.
Get up. You're fine. Get up.
Hey, that's on fire. You might want to put that out.
You got the line. Let's go. We got work to do. Deal with your cut later, man.
Yeah.
You're fine. But we had chairs out there.
Right.
The old recliners we took out of the day room, which is all one big room, of course.
Right.
But the big kitchen table, everybody was sitting around. Coffee was always on, or of course we bought soda, like 12 packs every day of soda, and multiples. I always had candy, but you're always talking about something, some call, whether it was that day, shift before, or 5 years ago. And dealing
Whenever
with
I
stuff.
work, at different stations, it's always this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that too, but
You
and
know.
I'm guilty.
And I am too. I'm not saying I'm not, but to me, it just seems like, we need to circle back around to
Yeah.
where we were.
Circle back.
Yeah.
Circle back.
Well,
Well, I think
But I
eating
will
together
say
helps. The
Yeah.
Cook Shack. I don't.
Oh,
You guys do Cook Shack?
No, we don't, because everybody's on a special diet.
Okay.
So-
So even if you don't go to the store together or you don't cook together, at least
Sit down and
noon
eat
and 6.
together.
We
Eat at noon
try
and 6.
we try to eat together. At least when I'm working up out of class, I try to
Yeah.
instill that. I've said that I haven't made supervisory position yet. I am on the list now for captain. So if and when that happens, that's going to be a priority, is making sure that we have one meal together. Doesn't matter what.
You can bring your own food in. I have no
Yeah.
problem with that. We got a guy
but
that
we all eat together.
I want to go back to something that you said
Sure.
that we were talking about a second ago about the whole separate bunks, and that's whenever the problems all started and stuff. I think we need to be careful to not glorify the old glory days because we've all seen it.
Right.
Guys had problems back then. They just didn't talk about it.
Right.
We still had, and I would say even more so back then, the addiction, the doing dumb shit at the station, and
I think, or what I meant by that was, you're able to go to your own room, your own space, and
Yeah.
you hide there all day.
right.
That's where I was going with that. No, there was more dumb shit done at the fire station when I first started
Yeah.
than now. And I know before I started, hearing some of those older guys talk,
Yeah.
all the dumb shit that happened
Yeah.
before I got there.
And
But
it
yeah,
was-
no, that's not what, I was not trying to
Yeah.
glorify.
No, I wanted to.
It's just somebody,
To clarify.
if you're having a bad day and you need your space, cool.
Yeah.
But don't go there every day.
Yeah.
Like I come into the station, I drop my stuff off in my room, and then I don't go back in there until it's time for bed, unless I need something out of my bag.
Yeah.
I don't even make my bed until it's time for me to go to bed.
Oh no, I study every day between 1 and 3.
I get that. I get that, but I end up studying on the recliner.
Dude, I can't do it.
I like the recliner.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Feet go up.
At my
lay back
station,
up.
yeah. So
The snoring contest.
at my station, you are risking shenanigans if you fall asleep in the recliner. And I mean, shenanigans are fun, but I only bring so many changes of clothes to the station, and I went through all of them yesterday.
That's a good day.
At another service I worked at part time, we had a guy that would, study in the recliner all the time, and he snored like no other. So we would get laryngoscope blades, just set it on his chest. We'd get tubes and just set it on his chest, and just wait for him to wake up. What the hell? Just getting ready. That's all.
Yeah. Stack them up.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't know how much in detail I want to go,
I
but
wouldn't.
yeah, there's shenanigans. we'll say
Shenanigans.
that.
I get
Just
it.
fun.
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I get it. There's got to be a certain amount.
'Cause it always comes back. If you're always the one doing it,
Oh
you're
yeah.
going to get got.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be bad.
Yep. So
But,
yeah,
but
I
you
take
end up laughing
my,
about it. But it's
Oh.
but that brings that camaraderie, and it brings dealing with kind of whatever issues
Right.
too. You just don't realize. So even when we had those kitchen tables, and even though there were issues back then, people were still dealing with it in a way they just didn't realize it.
Right.
right. Some people were.
That's just
I
like,
mean,
well, it's no different
yeah.
today.
Yeah, it's. I don't know where we're at on the department with, or how much progress. I think we've made a lot of progress with mental health and mental health awareness, and
We're
PTS
sitting
and
better than we
PTSD.
were 5 years ago.
I think we are.
I don't think we're where we should be,
No, we're
No.
nowhere near where we should be.
No.
and we're so far behind
Yeah.
that I don't know how to catch up.
Well, it's a culture shift. We've talked
It
about
is.
that
Yeah.
before.
It's definitely changing with the younger generation
Yeah.
that's coming on now.
Yeah.
They're completely different than even. I mean, we're a different generation, age-wise, than you are,
Right.
and fire service-wise.
That means I'm old.
Yeah, I'm not far behind you.
That's his nice way of saying I'm old.
Yeah.
You take it how you want.
You tell me I'm old. I know it. My wife tells me all the time.
I feel old, but it's just that it's that different. So I mean, to be honest, even the way you were raised.
Oh yeah.
So, because technically, being born in '82, I guess that
Oh,
makes me
you're
a
a
millennial.
millennial.
But I wasn't raised that way
Right.
because of when I was born. I mean, I remember the internet coming out, computers, and all that. But I was like, I'm gonna go play sports
Right.
outside. I'll see you guys tonight
And-
when the street light comes on.
And even kids, when I was growing up, kids my age, their parents were younger parents. My parents were older parents. So my parents, or my grandparents, lived through the Great Depression. And my parents were kids at the tail end of that. So being raised by that generation, it instilled different,
Yeah,
morals and philosophies and everything else in you. I still have a hard time wasting food.
yeah.
If I, no matter how full I get, sometimes
Yeah, because it's still there.
it's still there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it shouldn't be because
Gotta
there's
clean my plate.
right.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about that a little bit earlier with the whole, it starts in the home with whenever Devin was on.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about culture and, I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
You're not going to be raised the same. So,
no,
and I think that how you're raised can, not always, but can reflect how, or almost predict how resilient you'll be going forward.
right,
So, and that's the thing that we try to talk about on the podcast and try to focus on more is the growth.
Right.
Because post-traumatic stress is common. Everybody has it, whether you want to admit it or not. Everybody gets it.
Right.
It's natural. It just occurs. Where the problem comes in is whenever it becomes a disorder, you haven't dealt with it,
Right.
that type of thing. So what we're trying to do with this podcast is shed light on the growth portion of, hey, yeah, you can have the problem. There's also ways out of it.
Right.
And you can be better than you were before. You're going to be different, but you can be better than you were before.
Right.
And you don't have to let that diagnosis define you for the rest of your life.
Right. And that's where I'm at right now is building up my resiliency towards the rabbit holes that I've fallen into in, my life, is seeing them come up. And I, in my journaling, I wrote, when I work my plan, I'm strong. When I don't, I'm very weak. So as long as I keep working my plan, I'm good.
Work that plan, man.
Right. And then my wife and I, we do PARs and cans. Excuse me. We did a Zoom couples weekend last year. It was supposed to be held in St. Louis, and but because of COVID and all that other bullshit that happened, they did it all online. And one of the things that they suggested was doing, PARs and cans,
Yeah.
So
what's that?
conditions, actions, and needs.
Come on, bro. We studied for the captain's test together.
PARs and cans. You guys don't use PARs and cans?
Yeah.
Okay. So
People listening don't always know. There are cops that listen to this.
I like it. I like it.
Sorry, blue team.
Red team for the win.
I couldn't help that.
Yeah, I like it. See how that's set? Yeah, it's a perfect setup.
I mean, I'm gonna get so many tickets and get arrested so many times now. With all due respect, guys. With all due respect.
Right.
It's in the Geneva Convention. You can say that.
right. So we check in with each other almost every day now.
Good.
So in fact, just before she left for work this morning, we sat down and we talked and checked in, and she's like, everything okay? And I said, yeah, everything's good. So,
Good deal. So what's on tap for the future for you?
keep working my plan.
Yeah. I like it.
Yep, keep working that plan and, keep improvising it, tweaking it here and there, making it better.
Yeah. Dude, that is so important.
Mhm.
And that's something that, we talked about whenever I went through treatment is, you have this, we went by coping skills
Right.
and stuff.
Right.
So they're like, all right, you're going to have this coping skill. That's what you're going to use. What else? Because this one may not work every time.
Right. Right.
So you need more. It's basically tools in the tool bag.
Right. Yeah.
And you need as many of them as you can fit in there.
Yep. And that's my after action plan always, outlines what, if, I see the rabbit hole coming up, if the first thing I do is I get up out of that, recliner and start walking around, and that usually does it.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't do it, then, I'll go work out. If that doesn't do it, then I'll, journal. If that doesn't work, depending on the time of day, I'll either call my wife or my best friend. He's on board with me, and because he knows the struggles that I've gone through in my life. He's been half the time he's there with me.
Yeah.
But he said that since my wife goes to bed early, that if it's late at night, to give him a call.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, having a plan and then having a good support group, around you. And the support group doesn't have to be huge. Al Capone used to say, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. So if you got 4 good people, or even 2 good people in your life
Yeah.
that you can lean on when you need it.
Yeah. Well, that's something that we've talked about of nowadays. The definition of friend has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's friend is used in conjunction with acquaintance.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very liberal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So, when I say this guy's my best friend, like I said, pretty much any story that we tell, we were both there together in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad that
It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting back on track and staying on track.
Yeah.
That's.
And sometimes being called out is what
Oh, yeah.
kicks your butt in gear to
Oh, yeah.
to make a change you didn't even realize.
Yeah. Yeah. She, my wife sent me a nice long text after it, explaining what she saw. And I'm like, yep, I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
So-
Been there.
So I told her, I said, well, if you see me, when you first start seeing the changes, because she says there's changes, she won't tell me what they are.
Yeah, then you can hide them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you could try.
I could try. But then, no, she says, and I told her, I said, when you first start seeing the changes and you see, that I'm, not doing what I need to do, I said, call me out on it. I said, I'm not going to be upset. I said, I know I have fucked up.
Yeah.
So, and that's the only way to, sometimes that's the only way to get back on track.
Yep. Well, owning your mistakes and manning up in the good way,
Yep.
ultimately that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow. And
that's something that I haven't done previously. And I
Yeah.
think that was another part of all my problems. I'm good.
oh, yeah.
I can handle this. I can handle
never
this.
Never heard that before.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Yep. It's the common theme.
Oh, yeah.
It really is the common theme. And I think there's a personality that, guys have, or girls, whoever you get into this line of work, I think that's just a part of that mentality.
Yeah.
And that personality of, no, I'm the helper.
Right.
I'm good. I got this.
Right. I'm the one that helps you.
Yeah.
I don't need help.
Exactly.
I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. That's a whole section in my presentation.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, man. Well,
All right.
I appreciate you coming by.
I appreciate you having me. It was fun.
And let me know if you need anything for your presentations or
Will do.
anything like that.
Will do.
So, I still have some of my stuff from
I'm
Valley,
about
but-
I'm probably about 85% done with it right now. The goal is to make it I need it for 2 hours for certifications,
Woo.
right?
Yeah.
For my instructor certification, but I'd like to make it 4 hours and present it at Winter Fire School.
Cool. Well, something that needs to be, like I said, the whole point of this podcast is
Right.
getting rid of the stigma. So,
Right.
as much as we can. So, all right.
All right.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Like we say at the end of every episode, if you are having a problem, reach out to somebody. If you know that somebody is having a problem, don't be afraid to take that first step. Reach out to them. Let them know there are people out there. There are resources. So anyway, take care of yourself. Thanks for stopping by.